Hi, my name's Phil Bagge. Apologies that I can't be here tonight. I hope you have a great evening. I'm just going to run through some of my favourite programming projects. Programming a dance using Scratch Junior. First of all, have a look at all of the movement blocks in Scratch Junior. And then ask the children to go outside and design their own dance algorithm. And they do that by going outside and drawing lots of arrows to show which sort of dance moves they're doing and putting a circle around any dance moves they want to be repeated. Then the children bring that dance algorithm back into class and they turn it into a program using Scratch Junior. And it's quite nice then to add your own music to it because, hey, nobody dances without some music. Well, most of us don't anyway. Okay. And then we ask the children, well, okay, who's best at dancing? Is it the computer or is it yourselves? And it's quite interesting the answers children come up with. Build your own clock. Start by looking at a digital clock online and working out what happens to the seconds as they become minutes. Then we move on to having a look at a flow chart of a clock program. And the seconds have been completed and the minutes have been completed, but the hours are left free for the children to work out what the pattern is. And they can do that by looking at the seconds and looking at the minutes. Then we match the Scratch blocks to the parts of the algorithm and we stick that on. At that point, I tend to check it, see if it works, and then children go out and build this independently. Once they've built the digital clock, they can then go on to build their own hands into it. I would say this was a 2 stars out of 5 stars for teacher difficulty because actually a lot of the programming is already there and there's lots of examples in the planning of how it can be built. And if children get stuck, they can go and have a look back at their algorithm and all the programming blocks that they worked out and where they went. Can you get the cat to count? This is a great module that I really enjoy doing with children who have done some introductory basic Scratch programming. So I tend to do it in year 5 or year 6. We start by asking them, can you get the cat to count? And of course what they do is they get lots and lots of say blocks which do say 1, say 2, say 3, and that's great. And then we say, well, okay, I loved your ideas, but can you actually get the cat to count to 1,000? And at that point they sort of, they're horrified by this idea because of course they're thinking, well, I've just got to copy lots of blocks and that's really boring. So then what we do is we model a much clever way of counting that uses a variable. And we model this away from the computer using a pot for the variable and pencils or paintbrushes for the actual numbers. Then we give the children a little bit of time to try and puzzle this out for themselves. And sometimes between about 1/3 and 1/2 of the class will puzzle this themselves. And then what we'll say to them is, okay, that's great, love what you've done, but actually we're going to make a sort of standard version so that we can all work really easily on it. So I've got a flow chart that they have to work out which blocks go with which, and that gets everybody back into actually making that countdown timer. And then at that point, we ask the children, can you make it count in halves? Can you make it count backwards? Can you make it count in tenths or in 100s? Can you make it start from 30 and count the way down to 0 and then stop? And that's a much more fun set of puzzles. At the end, we make this sort of countdown timer and then we make it do lots of things. You can make, I had a lovely one quite recently where a pupil made it and the bird flapped its wings as the clock counted down, the timer counted down, and then when it reached 0, the bird flew off, which I thought was lovely.